Good morning, students. In this lecture series of operating system, today we will discuss device management. In this device management, the topics which we will discuss. Let's see. Just a second. Yes, techniques for device management. In this device management, the topics which will be covered are: we will discuss what are the dedicated devices, shared devices, virtual devices, input or output devices, storage devices, and buffers. So let's start. First of all, we will discuss the management of input-output devices. The management of input-output devices such as printer, card reader, tape, disk, and supporting devices such as control unit and control channel. The basic function of input-output devices are: track status of all devices, which are requires special mechanism, deciding the policy on determine which process gets a device for how long and where. So, the techniques for implementing a device policy. So, there are three basic techniques for implementing a device or policy. The three techniques are: number one, whether this technique for a dedicated devices, for a shared devices, or for a virtual devices. So dedicated mean to say a technique where a device is assigned to a single process. Shared, a technique where a device shared by many processes. When a device is shared by many processes, it is called shared. A technique where a device is assigned to a single process, it is called a dedicated. And virtual means a technique where one physical device is simulated on another physical device. So it's combination of dedicated devices that have been transformed into shared devices. Now the basic function of input output devices. So the basic function, the one function is this one: track status of all devices which are required, deciding the policy, and third one is the uh, allocation. Mean to say allocation of resources. So physically ascending a device to process with controlling unit or and channels, and the deallocation. Deallocation mean to say deallocate the devices at second levels. On job level, a device assigned only for as long as the job exists in the system. On process level, a device assigned only for as long as the process needs it. Okay, so these are the basic function of input output devices. Now we will discuss this device characteristics. Device can be categorized into two groups. One is called the input output devices and another is the storage devices. Input output devices and input devices takes data from the outside world, and the output devices, the which produce data to the outside world. So, the example of the input device and the output device, and card reader, and printer, These are all example of that input output device. Now there is one thing, that is the completely direct access device. Okay, a completely direct access device is one in which the access time is constant. It requires less time and less cost. Example: magnetic code memory, semiconductor memory, and read-only wired memory, which we will, so all cores are connected by wires, and each core having two selection wires through it. Completely direct access devices: when hardware receives a read request for some address, the address is decomposed into X and Y positions, and the hardware then selects the appropriate port. Okay, so for a device, that is that large transfers such as disk drive, it seems wasteful to use an expensive general purpose processor to watch status bits and to feed data into a controller register. So what we are doing, a process termed programmed input output. So many computers avoid burdening the main CPU with PIO, program input output, by offloading some of this work to a special purpose processor called a direct memory access, okay, controller. So to initiate the DMA transfer, the host writes a DMA command block into memory. This block contains a pointer to the some resource of a matter, a pointer to the destination of the transfer, and a count of the number of bytes to be transferred. Okay, so this is direct memory access. Now storage devices. So it is a mechanism by which the computer may store the information in such a way that information may be retrieved at later time, that we can store the information, and later on when we will require, so that information we would be able to get. There are following three types of storage devices. One is called serial access devices. One is called the serial access devices. Another is the completely uh, direct access, and third one is the direct. Mm, so first one is the serial access devices. It can be characterized as one that depends on physical sequential positioning and accessing information. Uh, Examples are magnetic tape unit, where information is stored as a group of bytes called records of any length. Each record can be identified by its physical position on the tape. The first record is 1, second record is second, and so on. So this is the serial access. Means the first record is assigned a number 1, second is assigned a number second, and so on. The numbering is done. The third one case is the direct access storage device, DASD, direct access storage device. So a direct access device is one that is characterized by small variance in the access time. These have been called direct access storage devices. Example of the direct access storage devices are magnetic drum and disk. In a magnetic drum can be viewed as several adjacent strips of magnetic tape wrapped around a drum, so that the ends of each tape strip join. Each tape strip called track, and its separate read-write heads. The drum continuously revolves at high speed so that record repeatedly pass under the read-write head. That is, record 1, record 2, record 3, and so on. Then these records have been finished. Then again, the record 1, record 2, and so on. So the drum continuously revolves. Since the drum continuously revolves at a high speed, so that the record repeatedly pass under the read write. First of all, the record 1 pass, then 2, then 3, and so on. Then again, when this one revolve have been completed, so again record 1, record 2, and so on. So each individual record is identified by a track number and then a record number. So there will be a track number and there will be a record number, and there will be a fixed head drum. The drum head would be fixed, and this record and this will be record 1, 2, 3, and then would be a track number would be there. The three factors that is very important or we should know that which contribute to time required to access a file. When we are accessing a file, three terminology one should know, that is seek time, search time, and transfer time. Seek time, it is the time required to position the read write head to the proper track. The seek time is the time required to position the read write head. Whatever the read write head is there, we will take this read write head to the proper track. And now the search time, which is also called a rotational delay. So the rotational delay is the time it takes to rotate DASD until requested record is under read write head. That is called the, so mean to say the time it takes to rotate DASD until requested record is under read write head. Third one is the the transfer time, when the data is actually transferred from secondary storage to main memory. The secondary storage to main memory, the time it takes, that is called the transfer time. In this, we will also, know there are four types of technology there. One is called the CD-ROM technology, commonly used optical storage. DASD stores very large databases, reference works, complex games, large software packages, system documentation, and user training material. Second is CD recordable technology, that is called CDR. That is, CDR drives records data on optical discs using a write once techniques, and WORM technique also, that is the write once, read many. Only a finite amount of data can be recorded on each disk, and once data is written, it can't be erased or modified. So if you have written the data on the CD, it cannot be erased or modified. Next one is the CD rewritable technology. In the CD, RW disk can be written and written many times by focusing a low energy laser beam on surface, useful for storing large quantities of data and for sound, graphics, and multimedia applications. Next is the DVD technology. DVD is the digital video disc technology. So digital video disc technology uses infrared laser to read discs, holds equivalent of 13 CD-ROM discs. So our DVD, data can hold the data of the 13 CD-ROM discs. These four types of technology, which further we are by using compression technologies, has more than enough space to hold a 2 hour of movie with enhanced audio. Single layer DVDs can hold up to 4.7 GB. Double layer disc can hold 8.5 GB on each side of the disc. DVD are used to store music, movies, and multimedia applications. DVD RAM is a writable technology that uses a red laser to read, modify, and write data to DVD disk. Here, as we have also earlier also discussed, that is the DMA, that is the direct memory access. It is an input-output technique that allows a control unit to access main memory directly. Once reading or writing begins, remainder of data can be transferred to and from memory without CPU intervention. To activate this process, CPU sends enough information to control unit to initiate transfer of data, then CPU goes to another task while control unit completes transfers independently. Without direct memory access or DMA, the CPU is responsible for moving or transferring the data, which is time consuming process. Device driver. Device driver, it is a software module that controls an input output device and handle its interrupts. Each device has its own device driver. There are also BIOS is the position of a device manager that handles the device driver software and is stored in both ROM and RAM. You can also write on your own device driver. If you have no assembly language programming, you can also write your own device driver and information. If you have information about the hardware and the assembly language, you can also write your own device driver. There is one more term that is called the buffering. So a buffer is a memory area that stores data being transferred between two devices or between a device and an application. Okay, so buffering is a memory area that stores data being transferred between two devices, either between two devices or between a device and an application. Okay, so here I am stopping. Thank you. In the next topic, we will again, discuss this. Further, we will discuss about the device management. Okay, so thank you and.